Okay, so this is my final video for tonight just because time is going crazy and my stomach is kind of topsy-turvy. I do not have to take a crap, but it's not hurting as much as it was when I made the first video before this video. So I'm going to play it by ear. And we're going to talk about Indigenous erasure and how it's growing on TikTok at an enormous rate as black people are telling Native people that they are not the original Native Americans and that black people were the original Native Americans. So, as a person who is part black and part native, I have decided that I am going to fight on my native side for this because I am sick and tired of the black side of my culture, this little minority group going around telling everybody who's native that they are not native, dancing around in feathers and doing all kinds of other stuff, and saying that the slave trade went in reverse, where they came to America, captured a whole bunch of God-forsaken African people, and took them over to Africa and formed Africa. Now, I'm not going to say that's impossible, because nothing is truly impossible. However, if I can be mixed and accept all of my heritage, why can't they be mixed and accept their heritage? You know, just want to put that part out there before I go any further. Now, let me apologize to everybody who's black. If you're watching and you're black and I have offended you, I'm sorry. But you're probably not on TikTok going through this shit and having these people pop up on your FYP every day telling your other half of your heritage that y'all not the real Native Americans. Although Native Americans did not use turkey feathers, the black people are using turkey feathers and other miscellaneous stuff. So you see the complexity. As a mixed person who is part black and part native, you have to get to a point where you have to decide whose side you're going to be on. And I have chosen my native side for that very fucking reason that my great grandmother passed. And the only thing I learned from her was folklore. You know, and stories about her running through the woods in her moccasins. That's it. I got nothing else. So I'm fighting for her. Period. Yeah, my father's father was black. My mother's father was mixed. My mother's mom is possibly mixed or all native, we do not know. Because she was adopted and raised black. So the majority of my life we've been raised black. And I can accept that. But I also know for a fact that as a mixed person, growing up mixed, being called a zebra, being called a half-breed, being called a lot of the other bad stuff, which has happened to me by mostly black people. The only bad Native American experience besides what's currently going on with family members who are closer to the Native family won't give me the information I need because I guess they think I'm going to rob her of her wealth or whatever. And I don't think she had any wealth because she had like 5 daughters. My grandmother being one of her daughters, my aunt Carrie being another, my aunt Janine, and other people from whatever side of her family is just being assholes. Alright? But that's not relevant. I should have put all that in the other video, but it didn't. What is relevant is the fact that this tiny group of black people are going out their way to prove that my great grandmother wasn't a Native American. I refuse to let that happen. Which goes back to, I'm probably going to get a lot of smoke and people are going to say, oh, you jumping racist, you jumping racist. Well, first and foremost, it's hard to jump racist when you're rarely accepted as a mixed person. Now, my 2 bad native experience, not counting the current shit about not being able to get information. I need a job. I had 2 native men tell me one time that I was unpure. My reaction was not very mature because the first guy I threatened to roll down a hill. They were both in wheelchairs. The second guy I threatened to roll into oncoming traffic. Was that the smartest thing to say? No. But I'm going to own that shit because I did it. And I know when I get to the creator, he's going to ask, why did you threaten them with that? And I say, well, one, my great grandmother never told me that I wasn't pure. I didn't know pure native was a thing. And then I found out pure native is a thing. And guess what? That's not me. I am an unpure native. And my feelings was hurt. And instead of thinking that thing through and having a smart and intelligent way of dealing with it, I did the immature thing and I was native, but I was black at that moment. And I literally told him, yo, yeah, I can't beat you up because you can't stand up. But I ain't got a problem rolling you down this goddamn hill. And then after he rolled away with the girl in my interest, the high chief's daughter, uh, Jan Brady, the middle brother, came up and decided that he wanted to talk to me about being unpure and stay away from his niece. And again, my reaction, not very polite, not very mature, as I once again threatened to roll him into oncoming traffic. Because I straight told him, I said, look, I can't fight you because there's no honor in fighting a man who can't stand up. But I don't have a problem rolling your ass into oncoming traffic. He didn't take that very well, but there was nothing he could really do about it because he couldn't beat my ass. So he rolled on past me and went on in there with his brother and his niece. And they kept her away from me until they went back home to whatever tribe they came from. Did I apologize to them? Nope. But I have a friend who's also native. He is a Mohawk. He's a light-skinned native. Now, outside of his face, he's pale. He's like exceptionally light as a native. So I don't know if he's a full blood. His name is also Courtney. Hello, brother. And Courtney had to go settle that problem because I had talked to Rick, my surrogate stepfather, my surrogate father. He was my father. He just wasn't my bio dad. And I told him what had happened because he walked up to me and asked me why did I upset the natives. And I said, in case you forgot, I'm also part native, and maybe you should have asked what they said to me first. He said, well, what did they say? They said that I was on pure blood. And they said that shit with conviction and feelings, you know, because I got some black in me. They didn't like that shit. And in no uncertain terms, they told me that I need to make sure I stay the hell away from their niece. Those words, exact. You need to stay the hell away from our niece. You're not pure blood. And even though she likes you, we don't want you messing up our bloodline. I think I was well within my right to be just a little bit angry. I might not have reacted properly, but you know, who reacts properly when you're angry? I mean, who has the coherency to take that shit on the chin and be fucking mad? I was mad. It was because there's two problems with that whole thing. One, they were in wheelchairs, so I couldn't haul off and tag them like I really wanted to. Martial artist, remember? I couldn't just haul off and just like clock the shit out of them because I wanted to do that, which is why I threatened to roll the first one down the hill and the second one down in the oncoming traffic, which either way would have been bad, and then she probably really wouldn't have liked me at all for doing bodily harm to her uncles. But I really didn't know how to react because all my life, up until I met Court, I never encountered any other natives or any other half-breed natives or anything like that. So I'm the only native reference I had, and when my grandmother and my great-grandmother passed, that was it. They did not share stories with my aunts, my uncles, my dad, none of that shit. They never told anything. And my great-grandmother, Ada, she only told me folklore. So I was born in 73, she died in 83. So my seventh year of life was the one summer that I didn't go down to Smithville because I was in Lynchburg. I got bit by a fucking horse. I was learning karate. It was a really bad year. But 8, 9, and 10, those 3 years, I learned about folklore. I learned about her brother John. I learned about her running through the woods in moccasins and shit. So, not one time. Because, and she also was pale. She was like fucking whitish looking too. And not one time did she ever tell me that I wasn't pure. Not one time. My grandma Bay, her daughter, not one time. My Aunt Carrie, her daughter, my Aunt Janine, none of them said nothing about us being unpure natives. Nothing. So I'm like, okay. But when I heard the words unpure and get away from our niece, I didn't react posthumously. You know, I behaved like a 12-year-old kid. And I was mad because, again, for the bulk of my life, and thank you, George Jefferson, Archie Bunker, and any other show like Sanford and Son, because for a long time people also called me Julio, and that ain't even remotely close to my name. It was also before I knew that Mexicans were indigenous. Um, People would call me Julio. People would call me half-breed. People would call me zebra. Um, I'm not going to use the N word, but I am going to use the H word, so if you're white, I apologize. Um, I was called half honky by black people, and I was called half N-word by white people. And that was before we found out that I was native. Then after we found out I was native, I was once or twice called Tonto, and this was done, and I didn't even know I was part of native until I got into the fifth grade. So when my grandma was telling me stories, they was just stories, you know. I just liked hearing her fucking talk. I liked sitting at her feet. I loved that woman, you know. I never knew she was native because when you were a kid, you know fucking shit about racism until fucking you go to school. Unless you are taught how to be racist at home. Alright? That's a different ballgame. I wasn't taught how to be racist. Not on my mom's side, not on my dad's side. We love everybody. Now we can acknowledge people, but when you were a kid, the the only native representation I ever had on TV was Iron Eyes Cody, Chief Wahoo McDaniel, and Tonto from the Lone Ranger, the living version and the cartoon version. And by the time my great grandmother was dead, the only other native representation that we had was John Blackstar, but they're not sure if he was native or whatever. But you know, John Blackstar, astronaut. You know, we assumed he's native, and as a mixed native, I'm gonna claim him as native. And then there was John Bravestar or Marshall Bravestar. I don't know if Marshall was his first name or the title because of the badge, but that was it. Oh yeah, then there was John Thunder, and the only other one outside of that was Spirit from G.I. Joe. There were no other natives representation, and then when Gargoyles came out, Lisa Maza was native and black, so you know that's right up my alley. But other than that, you know, you had one season with Centurions with one native on there, John Thunder. You had a season of Masked Crusaders. I forgot the guy, but he was Mexican and he rode a motorcycle. Not Bruce, who's the white guy that rode the motorcycle. Um, but that was it. You know, there was not a lot of native representation. Native American heroes were not on TV. You know, He-Man was a white dude. You can see that. He was white dude with a tan when he turned into He-Man. But when he was Prince Adam, he was pale fucking white. And I'm sorry if that offended anybody. But it's the damn truth. And when they did He-Man in the 90s, he was just white. He wasn't pale white, but he was the same color as He-Man as he was as Adam. He might have only been Adam like twice in the whole damn series. And he had that damn laser sword instead of the OG Power of Grayskull sword. And then when they brought it back in the 2000s, he was back to being like pale-ish when he's J.D. Ross version of Prince Adam, and kind of tan when he's J.D. Ross version of He-Man. And whatever's going on with whatever's the new shit that's on, because I don't have Netflix, but you know, I'm pretty sure He-Man's still the same tan-ass white man. So I mean, it is what it is. But for native representation, psh, what representation? Another reason why Echo Fan Grey Wolf has to get a job and represent natives. You know, it just has to be done. A lot of native actors aren't going to the defense of a lot of native things out of fear that they're going to lose their careers. But here's that thing, man. I ain't got a career, so I really don't have anything to lose. You know, there's some natives do speak on it, but like the big paid natives, they ain't say shit. Just like they ain't say shit that much about Standing Rock or any of that other shit. That kind of pissed me off because I'm not a full native, and I know that if I was in the position with that, you know, like no, because that's my people. Even if we're a different tribe, that's still my people. Because there's one thing that my great grandmother did tell me that has stuck with me throughout time and space, and it should stick with every human being of every race. What affects one race will affect all races. That's not how she said that. But what she said was what affects one tribe of natives will affect every tribe of natives at some point at some time. And she said that shit long, long, long before 1983. So I can only tell you this, it's pretty bad, when you get up on TikTok and you have people who look like you but don't look like you in the face or the hair, and they're telling you and every native that you follow and every native on TikTok that they are not native and that they are not the original natives. And then they're saying it to the Mexicans that the Mayans and the Inca and the Aztec were all black people versus what they actually were. I'm like, okay, this is fucked up. And so now you see, there has to be something done about it. And then I'm gonna say this because first let me apologize to everybody black that's watching that I've offended, and especially if you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go check out TikTok. You know, it'll come across your page. If you follow any natives, indigenous or racial won't be too far behind. But let me apologize to all the black people now before the next things come out my mouth because it's going to be offensive. There is nothing wrong with being black, but there are a lot of black people who don't want to be black. But the truth of the matter is, the bulk of black people don't want to be black. Because even though you can be proud to be black, there are people who will do things to make you wish that you were not black. Now, to what's going to get kind of nasty, see if I can word this shit right without being offensive. Don't worry, I'm not going to use any racial slurs. The problem is that, people having a tendency to not want to embrace who they are. They don't want to accept who they are. They don't want to accept where they came from. And I get it. However, you need to not try to change someone else because you are not them. And a lot of the shit that's happening on indigenous and racial TikTok has been a lot of black people not wanting to be black, not wanting to be associated with black, and just trying to get rid of black people and say that they were all natives. Mayans, Incan, Aztec, the Star people, they're saying that all those legends, myths, and everything were all black people. The feathers, everything. And now I'm going to say what else I wanted to say because it was gone. It was gone, but it came back now. I'm not going to lie to y'all. It was gone. It was completely gone. I had to fly back through my mind. First off, these black individuals are never doing anything about NYP. But yet, when you see natives talk about missing white girls, black girls, Asian girls, and native girls. They do all of it. But the black people aren't doing that. They're just telling us that we're not real fucking natives. You don't see black people messing with bows and arrows. But they can dance around with turkey feathers. And looking you dead in my face and telling me that my grandmother and her mother were not original natives. But yet they don't know what the fuck a bow and arrow can do. They don't mention anything about bow and arrows. They don't mention anything about tomahawks. But they say we got their feathers. And we use eagle feathers while they use turkey feathers. It's like turkey feathers was never a part of native culture. Maybe when they plucked the fucking turkey, but for the most part, that's a new thing to me. I know about the eagle feathers, and eagle feathers must be earned. The same thing with war bonnets. Now, this is where things also get complicated because there were white people doing indigenous erasure with the war bonnets. And then the black people just picked up where the white people left off. And then they started, that's when they started wearing damn turkey feathers. And freaking, top that off. That's when they, started dancing around and doing all kinds of other stuff and telling natives that they were not natives. And then, it only got worse from there. It just kept getting worse. And then you have them on there, and they're talking about it, and they're telling natives, we're going to wipe you out. I did a video the other day where this lady was talking about Ukraine, not Iran, excuse me. Talking about Ukraine. And this woman had the nutsack to say, don't send the black people over there. Send the Native Americans over there. Let them fight their cousins. I wanted to reach through that phone and choke this woman. And I don't support violence against women in any way, shape, or form, but this woman pushed my motherfucking limits to the maximum participation. Because a lot of people don't know. And if you're watching this and you're not Native, and you may not know this, but if you do your research, you're going to find this to be closer to right than wrong. I'm not going to say it's the whole truth. I'm just going to say it's 99.9 and 3/5 of the truth. More Native Americans have served in the USAF than most white people and black people combined, as well as Asian people. And when I say USAF, I do not mean it for the Air Force, because that's also for that. But I mean the United States Armed Forces. So I can tell you right now, there have been more Native American Marines and Army men, as well as Navy men and Air Force operators that have been Native American than they have been in any other ethnicity. Period. Y'all want to fact check that? That's fine. If you want to correct me, that's fine. But I can tell you right now, in World War One, Natives fought. In World War II, Natives fought. In Korea and Vietnam, Natives fought. My drill sergeants, at least 2 of them were Native. You know, one in Bravo, one in Delta. Now Bravo, he was like the whole company commander or whatever. I forgot whatever. Committer. And in Delta, I had another Native, 2 actually. But one was in my platoon, the other one was the whole company. So the one in my platoon was Drill Sergeant Aztec Warrior, Drill Sergeant Amiskwa. He didn't like me that much. It's all good though. I love them. I love them all. I love my Delta company, man. And I would have never left. I just couldn't shoot with shit. Plus my leg got fucked up. But I will tell you that more Native Americans have enlisted than blacks and whites combined. You'll have to believe me. You can go fact check it if you want. For the most part, I'm closer to right than wrong. Let's just put it that way. And I think that before people start saying we need to send Native Americans to go fight in Ukraine, well, first, you might want to acknowledge the fact that Native Americans have fought damn near every war. I don't know about the Civil War. I do know that in some cases in the Civil War there are stories. I cannot confirm them. Let me put that out there right there. Let me say it one more time. I cannot confirm them, but I do know that some natives took in deserters from the Southern Army and hid them within the tribe. Alright? Again, I cannot confirm that shit. I also know this may have happened in the North, because there might have been some deserters that left the army in the North and made their way into Canada, hidden by Ojibwe and other northern tribes. Again, I will state this because I do not know if it's true. I cannot confirm that shit. A story is a story is a story until you have proof of concept. Alright? So when I hear these people, these black people who just hate being black so bad, they want to make sure that natives can't be natives, talking that shit, it pisses me off. So again, let me apologize to anybody black who's watching. This does not mean you personally. Please don't take it personally. As a mixed person, I have to speak on this because I am mixed. I am part native, I am part black, I am part white, and there's nothing I can do to change that. Not a damn thing. And I wouldn't. Unless I could be all native. Yes. Now that I meant with my whole chest. If I could be all native, like 100% native, I would do that. But I can't. So I have to accept who I am and what I am. And also thanks to the military guy that put me on my reconnecting journey, who was black and native. And he was way darker than me. And he put me on this journey, and he's not here to help me, which kind of sucks, but it's all good. So that being said, you know, I'm going to put ginger ale in this cup in a minute before I make my next video. That being said, Indigenous erasure is happening on TikTok at an exponential rate, and it fucking sucks. And I've done all I can do because I'm stupid, man. I don't know shit about technology. I don't know how to report people. I don't know how to block people. But Another reason why I don't block it is so that I can keep my ear on the ground. Because if you don't know what your enemy's doing, you'll never see them coming when they cut your throat. That being said, I'm Echo Fan Grey Wolf. Thank you for giving me 27 minutes of your time. This is Comfort Havoc number 2. I love you all. Be seen.